Welcome back, everybody. I gotta say, Kenobi, I'm actually glad we've had a break because, as I mentioned to you, I am still recovering from the excitement that was last game, and it just keeps going here because now it's bubble time, right?
Yep.
It is time. It is do or die. It is on the line as the last game of the OQs, where we will be showing you Wildcard versus Redbird Esports, Illinois State. Before we get into the bubble, though, important to acknowledge that we already have a bunch of qualified teams, so let's congratulate them. As you can see on your screen here, thank you so much to our production behind the scenes for whipping this up in the very short amount of time that we had. But here are our qualifying teams. 100X and Immortals AoE, of course, battling it out on Unified Live for the perfect OQ record. Beneath them, we've got No Team, EG Prodigies, Maryville University, Taco Gaming, and then the 28th seed York Lions have qualified alongside the 18th seed Third Party. Some incredible stuff from those two teams with Ginger, Turmeric, and Supernova rounding out the group. So congratulations to those teams. But this is what the bubble is all about, Kenobi. It is time for do or die, and we are already into draft. These teams are not waiting around. They want to get this kicked off. They want to qualify for groups as soon as possible.
I mean, there's definitely, it's interesting because this is, for Wildcard, a position that, we're talking about seeding, 28th seed is in there. I believe it was the 18th seed as well. Seeding is just a number, it feels like, in this tournament, right? Where it's just like, it's just a number attached to you. Anything can happen on any given day. It's not a Sunday, so I can't use that one. Any given Tuesday, maybe, we'll say here at the PGCQ, but Wildcard has struggled. I mean, 2-2 is not where I think a lot of people expected them to be as we go into the draft. I'm so happy Rise is not being played because I think, based on what we've seen, that thing is broken. That build with like the Fimbulwinter, the Frozen Heart, it's scary. I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, it's been getting scarier and scarier. We've seen it win so many times in Champions Queue now today, and feels like there's not a lot of answers in the side lane. So glad to see it off the table, along with the Gwen from ISU. Alorum's Urgot, of course, a must ban. And on the other side, 280 carries, and of course, Tempos's Zillion taken off the board. But that just leaves our good old friend Jinx to be picked up in B1 to be piloted by Yen.
Powder going to be locked in. Bat Chest is the first one, and we'll see what Wildcard opts in to do with the next couple of picks that they have. Obviously, that Urgot gone away. Wildcard likes to play through topside with Griffin and with Aloran. That synergy that they both have with each other, definitely something to look out for. As the Xin Zhao, saw how potent it could be in the first couple of games that we've seen today already. Is it going to be able to go 3 for 3 here on the day and on the stream? Because it has been interesting. We've seen 2 different variations. We haven't really seen actually the one variation, like the very highly aggressive early game, stomp the jungle 4-0 at 5 minutes type of Xin Zhao. It's been mostly utility, as Griffin's going to be locking in the affiliates for... Thresh is still up.
Now, this right side draft gives me very IMT AoE vibes from last game, Kenobi, since these are the first 2 picks. And of course, as I must do every time I see Xin Zhao, old reliable, back in the jungle, but this time he'll have a little bit of a different matchup. We see the Trundle picked into him for GFP, and then the Lulu to try to counter some of this pushing from the Aphelios. This is kind of that pushing Jinx Lulu lane we've seen before, and even with Thresh available, Blossoms is going to opt for the engage and get himself on his favored Rakan.
It is a favorite of Blossoms. We do have to mention that fact, but man, Thresh Aphelios is too good that the fact that that's being passed up is interesting to me, that they are going to be doing that, especially into a Lulu where it's like Rakan W just gets like polymorphed. It's very hard to, especially like Charm. It's very hard to get onto a Lulu with S Rakan. So not something I would have expected on that R3, but we're going to be going back into the bans. I do like the Trundle. It is can be flexed to the top lane, even though we don't see it too much. It is definitely a possibility that they leave it themselves. Corki, mid laners most likely going to be taken off the board now, as neither team have them, so we're going to be pinching the pool a little bit between this. I mean, Rise isn't here. I was going to be saying, Rise is a possibility. Rise isn't in this draft anymore.
Rise needs to be banned for the strength, and of course, because Strumpus also here, right? You can't really give Strumpus a Rise. Even before, when Rise was a little weaker, giving Strumpus Rise was a questionable endeavor for a lot of teams, but we do see 4 mid lane bans currently on the table. This one being covered. We'll see if it is locked in, but Corki and Vex taken away from Drew Dozer, and Syndra and LeBlanc, some more early game focused champions, banned away by ISU from Strumpus. So now the R4 will be slotted in here, and it will just be the wait. Oh, it's the Alorum Strong. Yeah, it's Alorum Sejuani top. He has busted it out here.
Wait,
they took away his Urgot, but he will be piloting his patented Sejuani top.
But it's into Trundle.
I mean, you can comment on. I'll leave you to comment on this. I'm just telling you that this is Alorum. This is Alorum tech for like a year and a half.
I mean, I do know that like there is like dark tech of like Sejuani going top, but Trundle's already here. Trundle just hits R on Sejuani, and Sejuani doesn't become a champion for the next like 30 seconds, or however long his ult lasts. So that's a little strange to me. At least it won't be like in jungle like isolation, but I'm still scratching my head a little bit that one. I don't know. I feel like whenever I talk,
is jungle ever isolated these days?
No, it's true. That's very true. There's support usually, like we saw in that last game, Blitzcrank running around being a secondary jungler. It feels like, but. On the other side, Gragas is going to be locked in. Definitely very good just to throw in that top side and just have a free lane, essentially. Victor going to be locked in as well, going towards that mid lane. It's going to be comboed with the Orianna. I do like the Orianna pickup here for Wildcard. You have a lot of ball delivery people with this one. You have a Sejuani who can kind of go in. I think it's probably going to be either on Jinzhou or Rakan, and you just throw the, you can get a really big shockwave through a lot of that. So I think that I am very, very interested in the draft that we saw from Wildcard. Sejuani, I might not know a lot about it, but like I feel like always it was like never pick. Trundle was the counter pick to Sejuani for such a long time, right? And it was just like you just don't do that. You can't leave it up. And now I'm just like Sejuani's just gonna like get obliterated by Trundle R. So there is a space creation tool, at least for Wildcard, where you have some other opportunities to give space for for Minwi to pop off on Aphelios, but I don't know. I'm hesitant about the dark tech that we're seeing from them.
I will trust Alorum on this one. I feel like if anyone knows that Sejuani can play into Trundle, it would be Alorum.
If Alorum does this, hats off to him. Hats off. It's a bubble game. You got to win and you're in. If this is what you got to bring out, the dark tech on the Sejuani top to bring it all the way home, I tip my hat to you.
What Wildcard do have with this is quite a bit of engage, right? You've got the long range bolo from the Sejuani. You've got Rakan on Blossoms. You've got Griffin on this Jinzhou. So much to go in. And as you mentioned, ball delivery systems are all there. But give some credit to ISU. They have drafted quite a bit of disengage on their side. Lulu, the cask from Gragas, running into a Victor, right? All very tricky things. And all of that to protect, of course, this Jinx, who will have the ability to go front to back in team fights later on in the game. One interesting thing, though, she kind of is the only AD damage here. There's a lot of AP kind of on the top side, with Trundle not being a heavy kind of AD dealing champion. So we'll see what GFP goes. Maybe if he goes Sunder, it's a little bit easier to actually threaten that and mix up the damage profile.
Trundles in my games just bonk you on the head and you lose a third of your health. They have some AD damage in there. There's gotta be, it would look the same without it. But no, I think you are right that there is really that one kind of AD threat, like consistent AD threat that we can see from this Jinx. I think there's a lot of space creation, a lot of disengage that you mentioned from ISU. Walking into Pillar, walking into Victor. Lulu is going to be. The good thing is that Lulu can only polymorph one person. Right, so there is other opportunities to get in with the Sejuani, with the Jinzhou, with the Rakan. So it's definitely there is a way for Wildcard to hit the sweet spot on these engagements, especially with the fact that they have good Orianna ball delivery systems. I think that's definitely going to be the thing that wins or loses the game for Wildcard here. How much value are they going to be able to get out of these Orianna, shockwaves that we're going to be seeing?
Speaking of ball delivery, we have to get to level 6 for that ball delivery to be online. So if you are Griffin and if you are GFP, where are we looking in the early game? Right, Wildcard looks like they want to get those level 6s to fight Kenobi, but on the other side of things, can you disrupt that in the early game?
I think you can definitely go bot lane. It could be an option. It is Jinx Lulu, so it is a little bit more of a safer lane. They are going to have push though against Aphelios Rakan, so that is some that if they push up a little bit too far, Griffin can come down to the bot lane and has a lot of ganks set up, with Aphelios. with Rakan available there with you know, the W and the Gravitum. I think those are definitely options to go towards. You could go mid technically, but like it's Orianna. I think Orianna Victor will just stay in isolation. They're both not really going to be great for gank setup unless like something happens with like a pillar where it's just a very easy just kill like that from GFP. So I think overall, if you are Wildcard, I don't think it would be terrible for you to go towards that bot side. You could, I know, you know, Alorum likes to play with Griffin and they like to have this like top jungle duo synergy, but it is Gragas, and Gragas is pretty hard to kill in lane.
Yeah, he is a tricky one to kill. And of course, Disconnector now up there in the top lane. Now, or I guess renaming here to Schoolium. Of course, I am just, you know, my old CeeLo brain here working a little too much overtime, Kenobi at this point. So Schoolium should be just fine up there in the top lane. We'll see how that matchup does play out. But you know I got to do it to you, Kenobi. So far, you should be happy about this. Because so far, the side of good has been triumphing over the side of evil tonight. Kenobi, you are 2-0 on day 2. You can go 3-0 here in this game if you get this prediction right. So where are you leaning?
I think I really like the I really like the ball delivery system of Wildcard. I wasn't too happy with the Sejuani into the Trundle, but you convinced me about Alorum knowing how to pilot around this. So I think we're going to see a lot of good wombos. I think we're going to see a lot of great Orianna shockwaves. I think we're going to see Wildcard bursting the bubble and going in to the top 16.
Alrighty then, Kenobi, once again, going to predicting on the side of Wildcard. I will keep the theme of the day going. Yeah. I will live evil and just make it a clean separation. I'll go ISU so that we can have a... Don't worry, guys. We'll throw a little under the table of Blue Essence out there for this one. That's how we'll settle it finally. You know what? What's this? It's last goal, or like whatever. Last prediction wins, right? That's what we're going with here, Kenobi. Yeah. Last prediction wins.
Golden goal.
Yeah, golden goal. Last prediction will win. So with that, of course, we have our predictions in. We have our drafts in. We are getting ready for our final game of the OQs, our bubble game here between ISU and Wildcard, and we will be back with that game for you in just a couple minutes. So grab your popcorn, get your drinks ready, and get yourselves hyped up for the conclusion of an absolutely thrilling OQs here in the PGCQ circuit. Welcome back, one and all. And slight apologies that we're not headed right back into game. I know you would have liked to see that right away. So would we. So would we. That's all we want here is some League of Legends, Kenobi. But will be our faces for the second to last time of the day. Of course, got to break down. And okay, as I say that, we get the game. Thank you, Lords of League of Legends. We're on to Summer's Rift.
Briefest of moments you got to see us, and enjoy it while it lasts, because you will, again, like DJ said, only get to see it one more time tonight after this. So, Wildcard Gaming versus Redbird Esports for a chance to get into the top 16 for both of these teams. I like that we have a gold crown. That's nice. The thing is, sometimes you just don't know, Sometimes, what if someone got some, procs with, inspiration or something, With, first strike.
It's a great point, right? It can be important. It's ground shaking, lane breaking.
Yeah, I mean, an extra 13 gold. I mean, that's different.
I mean, look, every time I'm playing a ranged support and I get 10 extra gold on my support item to start the game, I just type GG in all chat, right? It's just over.
Oh man. Okay. Well, I now I know to not play support against you for my own mental sake, as we're gonna see both the junglers starting in that top side, both getting leashes as well, so they are gonna be hightailing it towards the bottom lane, most likely between both of them. As again, I am interested to see how the Sejuani lane is going to work against the Gragas. The Gragas is usually known for just not really having a ton of just ability to, it's just a thing where you just sit it up there, it'll stay, it'll be fine, not really in worry of dying too much. And then you take it to the team fights and you have some sort of engagement and disengage, where as the Sejuani, you do have some pretty decent early fights.
Certainly do, with that passive and the lockup on the E's. We look down at the bottom lane. This should be very pushing in favor of ISU. Of course, Lulu super obnoxious to deal with, and the range on those rockets a bit too much for Aphelios to handle with the AoE. So we'll see that shove on in as GFP is down here on the bottom side. We'll be looking for that Scuttle Crab at 315, but we got a split of maps, so I imagine both the junglers not really going to have any issues.
It looks like you're going to be seeing a clear of the top side from Griffin. Just making sure they take everything, get that level 3 quickly, and then head towards the bot side. Although GFP is here first, so GFP will have the ability to make something happen. Looks like we actually might see a gank in the mid lane. GFP is hovering with Pillar.
Yeah, GFP coming in at level 3. He'll get an early flash out of Strompus. Nicely done. He's still got plenty of time to walk back to his scuttle.
Yeah, and it looks like this is just a full clear from Griffin. I mean, he's done this relatively slow, and GFP is around here. The ward will come out, so Griffin will be able to spot that the Trundle is in this area and not get zoinked, but the priority is here all around the bot side, and they could start moving up towards Griffin here if he's not careful.
And we'll complete his Gromp, but yeah, there's a challenge for his blue buff at the moment, Kenobi. There are 4 members here, and we are going to get blood. We are certainly going to get blood. It's not even smited. Wait, I think Griffin still got it. Can't really tell in the scrum as everybody's flashing away. Who's going to pick up first blood? It's an absolute bloodbath. This is 1 for 1, but a second one going over to Strompus so far in the favor of Wildcard as Drew Dozer has to flash away. Tempos might survive here, but as I say that, he will get run down, slowed down. Wind becomes lightning, becomes 300 gold, and it is Wildcard off to a 3-1 lead.
I'm not sure how worth that was. I mean, I like the idea going for something like that, knowing that you have so much priority, but you got to make sure you're hitting those cooldowns. Zalorum is getting taken very low. The Ignite, though, is going to be... Disconnector has to get out there.
All right, and Disconnector is just fine. Form and Disconnector just gonna... They should just heal up. They got a lot of sustain. Actually, Disconnector flashing away, but he knows he has GFP coming, and I think Alorum's dead here. Doesn't have the dash anymore. Gonna try to go in, get the trade. That's really the only question at this point, but nope. Disconnector will expend the flash, will outplay Alorum, who has the Ignite, and will get a kill back for Redbird Esports.
And knowing that with no flash, you can just walk up to that top side. The lane was pushing in, totally in favor of them as Alorum. Well, TP back to lane, but the wave is not in the greatest state currently. But with Disconnector leaving, they will be able to probably push this in, and TP will come back and the waves will bounce. So no harm, no foul, too much for them. As If we look around kind of at the rest of the map, we do have Jin Zhao clearing up his top side again. Griffin making sure that they are in a good position to hover around this top side in case GFP does come back there.
He could potentially come back with a flashless champion on the top side. Of course, this one always going to have that unstoppable and the dash. So you do have to kind of lure it out like Disconnector already did once. Look around the state of the game. Just a slight 700 gold lead for Wildcard, despite the absolute hectic nature of that fight around the blue buff, and it has put Griffin into a pretty substantial lead. 3 camps to the good on a pretty fast clearing Jin Zhao.
And both of the mid laners are flashless as well, so I wonder if we're going to see any movements as Strumpus has priority to move forward into the jungle, and they're going to start taking away some stuff from GFP, knowing that they have a little bit of a push advantage here to work with, and they know exactly where GFP is at all times. So the bot lane most likely going to play safely as we're batting sticks around in the top lane. Not too much happening as well.
Okay, explosive cast going to come out from this connector on the top side. Alorm will lock him up and we'll start walking away. Body slam not quite going to connect, and Alorm will just walk away with the ultimate advantage as his teammates seize onto the first Drake. Again, they know exactly where GFP is. They know they are ahead with the Iron Spike Whip, and fearlessly, I think here, Griffin will secure that Cloud Drake.
Still do see GFP, who's hovering towards the bot side, is actually backing now, so I think just hovering and making sure that Jin Zhao isn't going to come and just absolutely ruin the bot lane. He's like channeling it. Expecting maybe something to happen, or potentially expecting that Wildcard Gaming pushes up a little bit aggressively, because there is no vision that GFP is down here, but he is taking a lot of time to do this. And he still hasn't backed.
GFP still hanging around that bottom lane. Ult comes out from Alorm, and that's in turret range. Disconnector is barely alive. I don't know how much follow-up Alorm has. Nope, he's just going to have to back away. A Disconnector somehow gets out of that prison.
Yeah, that was probably just wiping the sweat off of his brow there, because that was very, very close to being a solo kill there for the Sejuani in that top lane. I don't think they had Ignite ready, so they weren't able to secure that kill. Was Alorm, rather. But it still manages to get some pressure relieved from that top side, as we also see GFP ping towards that top side, knowing that Griffin is around here.
You're going to walk over the ward. Disconnector will be fine with the vision established, but I mean, look at the mid lane again. It's a base timer for Drew Dozer. Strompest has priority, so they can't really contest it, and that's another camp that's going to be lost for GFP.
Yeah, I mean, GFP has had a rough time as they're on the bot lane with the engagement.
A lot of damage coming through here for Nuclear. He's trying to dish out the final amount, but it looks like he will just get out with a little help from that Lulu from Tempos. But the ultimate comes out. Good shield, not enough range. Good nerfs from last year, and just going to stay alive, try to clear out the waves.
They're playing with fire, it feels like. I mean, they do have vision around their side of the jungle, so they know that it's very hard for them to get dove, especially with the Rakan not having 6. If the Rakan had 6, I think it'd be pretty scary for them to be around this area for that long. But no harm, no foul again, as they will not burn any cooldowns as well in summoner spells, so that's good for them that they keep those. Poor little Shadow will lose its life and return to the ocean, or to the river, I guess, not the ocean.
Goodbye, fair Scuttle. You were beloved, but you will be back sometime later in the game. And thank you for not being having as much XP as you did the past, so that we had to watch every single 3-minute, 15-second see if the game would end right there. Either way, Scuttle is down. We look across at the state of the Rift. It's a 1.5k gold lead for Wildcard. They have extended that over the last 5 minutes or so, and a lot of it has to be said. It's coming from that jungle, right? They are just pressuring GFP out at this point, and Griffin has really gotten everything he's wanted in these early stages of the game.
Yeah, and I think they've been using as well the priority that they've had to move around the map. You know, we saw it in the bot lane, we saw it in the mid lane a couple of times, where they know that they have push advantage a lot of the time, so they'll just go and invade. You know, at this point with the Victor isn't able to match the push of the Orianna, especially since they're a little bit even in terms of itemization, and Orianna has the lucidity boots, so she just continuously has all of her cooldowns available to them. As in the top lane, just again, more scrapping, no kills probably going to be happening at all. There's
some tanky boys up there at Kenobi.
It's boring in the top. It's just they're They're hitting sticks with each other.
It's like trying to take down a Star Destroyer, right? AT-AT. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of effort. They're walking around, they're stomping around.
You just had to. Okay, the AT-AT you just had to literally walk around. You had to fly around it like a couple of times and attach a rope, and then it was dead.
Okay, in very specific circumstances. We both know that's not the only canon appearance of the AT-ATs, and that laser-protected armor makes them pretty tanky.
Yeah, I mean, true. But they couldn't kill Luke Skywalker, so, like, I mean, you know, what good are they?
Well, welcome to the pro tag buff.
As, I mean, we see again, this top left side quadrant of the jungle just doesn't belong to GFP anymore, as Strumpus might have pushed a little bit too far, but we'll get out of there most likely, as
oh boy,
comes Griffin.
Yeah, he's handled the exchange pretty nicely, baited in Drew Dozer, and there's the speed up. Yep, Drew Dozer does have to flash away from the wind, becomes lightning. Strumpus takes the chunk, procs the phase rush, gets on out, and then earns himself a flash advantage.
And this is Rift Herald probably going to be dropped right here, too. No, with GFP here, they'll probably wait for it. As actually, it has to be a flash out from Strumpus. GFP didn't use ult there, actually.
Okay, so Disconnector also TP'd in there.
Yeah, that was interesting that this connector thought that fight was going to continue at that point. And now you've left Ilorum, who, I mean, I doubted him against the Trundle, but he also is up like 25 CS now, so I look a little bit foolish.
Yeah, been laning it pretty well. Hasn't really interacted with the Trundle that much, to be fair. To be fair to you to this point, Kenobi. Meanwhile, though, GFP is just running straight at Strumpus, who's got the shockwave. It actually didn't do that much to GFP, who's stealing away these stats, but he's going low. He's going down and traded out for a 400 gold shutdown. Now the question is, what can you get on Griffin? Blossoms has the ultimate pop. He's trying to get in here to support his jungler, and he will do so. Down goes the AD carry, and now all of the reinforcements have arrived, including Allure with the TP. It's 4 kills, and Wildcard will wipe the Redbirds off of Summoner's Rift. Disconnector, he's a tanky boy. He should be okay as all the ultimates are down, but he is the lonesome bird in the nest. It has been raided.
God, I mean, they really could have used the TP from Disconnector there to come into that fight, because that would have helped negate a lot of the dive that was coming through, but Disconnector had to just walk all the way from top lane into that fight because they're way too late. It's going to be a second Drake over to Wildcard Gaming, putting Soul Point in their sights, depending on what it is. I mean, no matter what it is, you're going to want it. But if it's something boring like Cloud Soul, and it's not, we get Infernal Soul. That's the second one today. We have been blessed with really good Drakes today, DJ. I have to say. No Clouds. You know, I mean, we got Ocean, and we got 2 Infernal.
Okay, like real life, you don't like Clouds.
Soul. Oh, well, Cloud Soul.
Okay, Cloud Soul.
I like clouds. Yeah, of course I like clouds. I live in New England. All I see is clouds, especially now in the winter.
Okay, let's like real life rate them, right? We rank the souls. I'm a Hextech soul first, then Infernal, then Ocean, then Mountain, then Cloud. Okay. Real life, if Hextech was real, I would rate it highest because that would be sick. That would obviously be the coolest thing. After that, I think I'm a Mountain guy, then Ocean, then Cloud, then Infernal, because Heat, boo on Heat.
Anyway,
you're not even gonna rank yours? Come on, Kenobi.
Oh, okay. You want me? Okay.
Yeah.
You want me to? Okay. You want me to rank? Okay. I'd probably yeah. Hextech Soul is like first in both real life and in this game, definitely for sure. We don't have Chemtech anymore, thank goodness, because I would probably rate that at the bottom for both of them. You know, it'd be the antithesis. And then I would probably rate Ocean Soul second, then Cloud Soul, then Infernal.
Okay, there we go. We get the color ratings, right? We've been in balance all evening, right? Good and evil. So we both have to have predictions and or rankings, as again, our mountains here in the top side just kind of decide to slap each other with a little bit of tectonic motion and do largely not a whole lot, as the wave does push in for Allure at the very least, as his team once again tries to make GFP's life pretty miserable around this red buff. It is a 3v3, but look at the itemization. Griffin has that or Drinker, and because of that, he'll just take it away. Allure takes a turret shot, still is pretty tanky, still has Ignite. Disconnected will flash in. It's actually going to pan away. The rocket, can it finish Allure off?
Oh!
No! Go so just close. Wide to the left. You dragged your shot just slightly, Nuclear.
That was so so close, but ends up not prevailing. And that means that Disconnector doesn't have Flash. So in this next fight, Flash engagements with the Gragas not going to be available to him, as Drew Dozer's in a precarious position here.
Okay, Blossom's ult going to get popped. There is the ball delivery system, and goodbye, Victor, but a trade of kills as the Hex Tech does strike back here.
Yeah, 1 for 1, not terrible for Redbird Esports. I mean, obviously it could have been worse where you don't trade at all, but still feels like 1 for 1s in this scenario. No one's really winning, especially since Trumpus didn't have much of a shutdown in their back pocket, as kind of take stock at what's happening at the current moment. Objective bounties are online with how far behind Redbird are state. This has been pretty heavily a jungle gap, I would say, and it's because of the fact that the priority from the lanes of the Gragas, of the Orianna in that mid lane, Griffin has just been able to walk into the jungle of GFP and take whatever they want. It didn't matter. You know, there were 2 buffs that were stolen away from Griffin or from GFP. It's just been a really difficult time for GFP to be effective on this map, and luckily for them, I mean, you are going to be able to just hit R on Sejuani and be somewhat useful in a fight, but still putting the Trundle this far back has been extremely beneficial.
Yeah, it's been very beneficial, and having Xin Zhao this far ahead means that, you know, Griffin can just do whatever he wants, right? He can walk on in with Gore Drinker. No one can really stop him at this point of the game, particularly the jungler, who's still working on a mythic item, nearly getting doubled in CS at this point, right? Like, being behind as a jungler sometimes isn't the worst thing depending on your champion, but this is another level, and we can see Griffin not afraid of going toe-to-toe with anyone, which is why I'm probably comparing him to Winston here, because it's just looking like he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, and I mean, the other thing about this, right, is we're at the point for Redbird Esports where they don't have enough damage, I think, to, like, kill a lot of the members of Wildcard Gaming, right? Like, Victor's not really that strong just yet. Jinx is only on the singular item, so not pumping out as much damage, and even then, you know, you have the Xin Zhao ultimate, so you basically are unkillable alongside the Gore Drinker. I'm struggling to see, you know, where does the teamfight win come for Redbird Esports going forward, unless there are some disastrously moments played from Wildcard Gaming. To be fair, there has been some of those, because they are in a position where they're 2-2 and fighting for their lives in this position.
Second Rift Herald going to be procced in the mid lane by Griffin. 4 members around him, and now, yeah, see, this is what we're talking about. He's just going in, gonna get the ball delivery system down. Blossoms will follow up, looking for just the 1 kill onto GFP. He'll barely stay alive, as will Blossoms, with the Super Mega Death Rocket going wide to the right this time around, but it will achieve the goal that Wildcard wanted, as the mid lane turret goes down, and so does Drew Dozer on the back side of the play. The wave clear now gone, thanks to Alarm.
And I mean, again, look at how scary that engage was, right? They used the engage, effectively layered all of it together, and that was without the Sejuani. That was without just the R button go in type of champion. So it's really scary for Redbird Esports to peel through all of this, especially with the Lulu just only having that singular polymorph. If Disconnector isn't there with Cask or Body Slam, it makes it even harder to survive. With immobile type champions like the Jinx, like the Victor. Jinx has also opted in for Kraken Slayer, which I get because there's, you know, there's some tanks on the other side. But Gale Force here, I think, actually would have been pretty nice to use as an option for mobility.
You can see there on the XP, GFP is a lower level than everybody except the supports. That is the difference in the solo laners for Wildcard. They're exactly where they want to be. They're at the top of the experience charts. They've got gold galore in their back pockets. Strompus will be finishing his second item very soon. Alorum can't be far behind, and Griffin already has his with that newly revamped Death's Dance, blocking all sorts of damage now instead of just the AD. So feeling really, really good. Our wild card, every objective has been theirs, and their late game members are going to be coming online sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I'm a bit worried about this Xin Zhao running around. You know, I've seen some more macro facilitating intensive jungling from the Xin Zhaos in our previous 2 games, but this time it feels like this could be potentially a carry Xin Zhao. You do have Minwei as well, who is in a good position as Drew Dozer. Might be looking for solo bolo right here.
Minwei gonna dash away. Speed boost on to Drew Dozer. Will require the heal as well. Doesn't matter. He's a little too quick for the Sibelius, but now can you get out? You used everything you had to kill this AD carry, and Wildcard says, Yeah, no, bro.
Almost.
Yeah, almost. It was a clever flash, but they're not letting Minwi go down without avenging their AD carry. It definitely looked like a kind of, I wouldn't say an overextension because he gets the kill, but right, he knows he's kind of sacking himself there. I have to imagine.
It feels a little bit like desperation as well, where you're just trying to make something happen. You do get a shutdown onto your Victor, which is nice. With the amount of damage he'll be pumping out later in the fights, but overall, 1-for-1 still doesn't mean too much in the overall grand scheme of things, as Alorm going to continuously push out this top wave. Disconnector hasn't really been that impactful throughout the map, and it's, I mean, this is kind of what you have to do. It's like Gragas, you just, you know, lane up, and you really got to make yourself impactful in those team fights as like either a disengage or an engage, as GFP does not want this smoke because he does not have vision and does not want to see what's on the other side of that wall.
Now, GFP doesn't want to see anything, right? And like, I mean, like he doesn't want any scrap here. He finally does have the Divine Thunder, but again, it is a daunting task. I mean, 2.5 items on Griffin, now 2 items on Alorm. So at least there's, you know, tanky stats to take away, but it's a rough go to have any sort of small skirmish with GFP in there with how far behind he is. There are some members of Redbird that are pretty strong. 2 items on Drew Dozer. We've seen him kind of zipping around with that Cosmic Drive. He does quite a bit of damage, and nearly 2 items on Nuclear, but that is still just not close to the power that Wildcard has in their possession. 6k gold up, all the Drakes in their back pockets. The Soul coming up in just 2 minutes, and Redbird is really going to have to hustle for some item breakpoints before that.
Okay, you can see engagement happening in the mid lane.
Yeah, going on in is Wildcard, and going out of existence is Nuclear. Alorm now has to kite away from Drew Dozer. Again, probably the strongest member on Redbird. Can he do enough? He's really quick with his Cosmic Drive. He will get a shutdown onto Alorm, and he will survive this time as the rest of Wildcard's on the other side of the map. But the reason they're on the other side of the map, Kenobi, is because they want Baron. They will kite away from it, though, so at least a little bit of a win for Redbird.
Yeah, and with Jinx not there, I think Wildcard's thinking we can maybe just go and rush this Baron extremely quickly, but with the TP coming back in from Drew Dozer, that is a good source of their damage coming back in. And, I mean, he's gotten 2 shutdowns already in this game, so Drew Dozer, I mean, if there's a way back in, it's from this mid lane Victor who can pump out a lot of damage, but again, what I'm worried about is just the incredible amounts of engagement that Wildcard Gaming has, and Drew Dozer does not have flash either, so it makes him even more of a tasty target for any of the engagement opportunities coming in for Wildcard.
Really does. He is a speedy boy. He's got a blue buff in his back pocket now, and he's nearing that 3 item mark. Just actually a little bit ahead of Strompus, despite the CS differential. Those 5 kills really doing work for Drew Dozer at this point, and he will need to be massive because 20 seconds now away from that Soul that is coming up. Infernal Soul will be really tough to deal with against Jinx Rockets, against an Orianna, against a Felios ulti, excuse me. Just so much of that poke can stick. You see everyone is hovering around. Lorm's ulti comes out, it goes wide. Minwi's in so much trouble though. He has to flash away the bird. He gets the shield and barely survives with the AD carry almost certainly out of the fight. He has to hit these jungle camps to recover, and that is the sign for Redbird. Straight onto the dragon. Doesn't look like there's a window for Griffin to get in, and that is a big win for Redbird.
Massive win there, and I mean, again, it's just off the back of Drew Dozer, and unfortunately for Minwi, not really respecting the damage that can come out of a Victor at that point. It just feels like, again, the way back in is for Drew Dozer to be a incredibly... It feels like it almost has to be like a 1v9 type deal, right, DJ? Where there's not much gold on anyone else in the map, and the TPs are coming in the mid lane. Here comes the engage.
Here we go. Alorm's found his angle, but he does not have ulti, so he can't quite lock anyone up. Instead, it's Blossoms who's in a little bit of trouble, and we're fading away a little bit from the fight here.
It's an SFW. We can't see it. It's not suitable for work.
And we come back to a mass of Wildcard bodies sporting their club's color in red, and they'll be heading over to secure the Baron.
Oh, the humanity. Oh, we couldn't see it. It was too gruesome to show you, chat. Just not able to see what happens. And we will see, though, the Baron end up going down. Drew Dozer's trying to make something happen on that bot side. But, again, just the sheer amounts of engage coming in from Wildcard. You see just how difficult it is for the Lulu to keep track of everything, keep track of the shield. Strompus should live.
big chunk, but he will proc that phase rush, speed away from the Chaos Storm, and be just fine now with the Baron buff in his back pockets and on all 4 of his teammates. And with Drew Dozer out here, it means, well, losing somewhere else because he is the wave clear, so the top lane turret tier 2 will fall. Wildcard just going to start to squeeze Redbird out of this game. They'll move back toward the mid lane. They'll take the camps away, continue to grow this gold lead. Already a 2,500 Baron power play, and it should only get worse.
And I mean, you're 10k gold up right now if you're Wildcard. Your goal at this point should just be to break the base open as much as you can with the Baron, push out those waves, and then reset at some point to get that Infernal Soul, because again, with what all the damage they're doing in these engages, slap an Infernal Soul on that, you know, with an Orianna who's got this much, who's got this far ahead, with a Jin Xiao who's actually like deathless at the current moment. It's going to be pretty hard for Redbird Esports to survive a lot of these bursts.
Redbird facing a monumental task to come back here to keep their circuit number 2 alive, Kenobi. That is what is at stake. That is what's on the table for Wildcard, this heralded organization, the kings of amateur last season, trying to get back to their 2nd straight qualification in PGCQ. They will be moving towards this bottom lane turret. Looks like it will go down without too much of a contest. Drew Dozer doing his best, but Drew Dozer being seized upon. He'll flash away from the ball delivery system. It is a nice flash away from that shockwave, and it keeps Redbird in their defensive positions for this siege.
I mean, if you're Wildcard, though, you totally take that. Again, the person that we're focusing on here is going to be Drew Dozer on that Victor, and without Flash, it's a bad idea for him to walk up. He has to respect the engagement from the Rakan, from the Sejuani, and without Flash, he's going to be in a bit of a precarious position when this dragon comes up in a minute and a half.
Now, and Minwi moving back to the mid wave. It's good push out by Redbird to slow this Baron down. 45 seconds remaining on that buff, on this siege. And the mid lane tier 2 actually still remains. It doesn't look like Wildcard are that interested in sticking around. Instead, they will take their 3,300 power play. They will head back to base to buy up their items, and they will get themselves prepped for the next chance they have at Soul in a minute, 20 seconds.
Reset yourself and just go back towards that Dragon Pit. Start taking up all the vision you can. I mean, look at this point, the itemization coming out from both these teams as well, and specifically from Wildcard Gaming. The Sejuani with the Sunfire and with the Fimbulwinter. Well, it's not Fimbulwinter yet. It's Winter's Approach, I believe, is the one before we get to Fimbulwinter. Wait, actually, is that true?
It's upgraded. They're both upgraded.
Okay. I see. The thing is like I can never tell. You know, they just both look like whatchamacallit. Snow jackets, the snow armor.
They do kind of both look like snow armor.
You know what they should do? They should do, because it says Sejuani building it, there should be like some like hidden buff or something.
No.
I feel like it's
we got rid of all those hidden buffs years ago. Remember there used to be like a little thing for like, I think like Nocturne and Rise, you get like a bonus, or who was the real rivalry? It was like, oh yeah, Lucian on like Thresh. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that one too. But we still have Kha'Zix and Rengar, don't we?
I don't know. I feel like they tried to remove all those out of the game because it was just kind of like a weird minigame to have in this already massive game full of minigames. That's true. Either way here, got both these teams hovering around the mid lane, and will be mid lane priority earned by Redbird as they try to walk in, but the Dragon pretty under duress from Griffin. It will now come into vision, and here we go. They have to throw caution to the wind here for Redbird. They cannot give up the soul. Blossom's on the flank. He's going to get knocked up, charmed up, and absolutely deleted. He cannot get the engage down. Minwi has to kite out. There's the Lord going in. Rocket in the back line's not enough damage, but they have gotten the AD carry. Can Redbird carry this? Yes, they can. 4 members alive, and Wildcard will be denied for the 2nd time in a row.
That felt like a force from Wildcard Gaming. I mean, they had so much vision on the Rakan. They knew the Rakan was going to be flanking. Tempos hits a perfect polymorph to make sure that the engagement from the Rakan gets absolutely no value, and the fight completely devolves from there because they can't take out the Jinx or Drew Dozer, and I'm starting to get a bit worried now. It is still a significant gold lead, but he was at 10k at one point. Now it's only at 5k. And Redbirds will continue to scale pretty significantly with this Jinx and with this Victor. Now, let's be honest, Wildcard Gaming have a good amount of scaling in their back pocket as well. You have Aphelios, you have Orianna, things like that. But those types of fights, you can't force them against a composition like this unless you are absolutely certain you're going to get a kill onto one of those backline members.
I mean, the plan was all there, right? Blossoms was on the flank looking for that pocket of vision, but it was just played better by Tempos. They got the polymorph, and they just delete the threat, and with the engage gone, well, now you're just kiting front to back with one less member. Minwi didn't really get a chance to deal any damage outside of his ultimate, because Drew Dozer says, yeah, I'm pretty strong. I got a laser and a Chaos Storm. Good luck with this. And it basically 100-0s him as he has to kite out of the fight, so you can see that there are still obstacles for Wildcard to overcome, and now with the gold much closer, it gets that much harder. Kenobi Baron once again back on the table in 17 seconds. Wildcard looks for an angle. They do not fully pull the trigger. He's going to walk back to this dance around the mid-wave as Lorem. He'll throw out the Glacial Prison. He'll land it on. This time Blossom's gauge is accurate. It's on to Drew Dozer. He will go
Jinx
down.
is still on.
What's the price though? Is Jinx still firing away in the backline? Nuclear looking for a second reset. He's
Nuclear.
away. He's got the speed. He's got the rocket. Minwi gets him, but he'll be taken down by Disconnector.
Oh,
Can
no.
Griffin carry the fight? The answer is vehemently no. It's another win for Redbird, and they're pushing up mid lane.
What is happening? It feels like there should be no way back for Redbird Esports, but they've been playing these fights absolutely insane. The disengagement and the heal that they're
just trying to
giving.
end? There's no way.
I mean, the
15
timers
seconds
are
on
pretty
Blossoms.
long. Yeah,
20
Blossoms
seconds
should be
on
back.
Lorem. Kenobi.
They get in hip. They get in hip.
there's
They
no
get in hip at least. Yeah, they get in hip at least. They should go back, start thinking about getting, pushing back out those waves. They're not doing this. There's no way.
What?
They're going for
They're going for it. Blossoms is coming up. Okay, this is it. This is the full roll of the dice. This is everything. Shields provided by Tempos. They've got one turret. Alorum's back up, and yeah, they don't have it. They have to run for the hills, but Alorum is already going to snipe out one with the Glacial Prison. I don't know if Disconnector can get out of this. Knocked up by the Grand Entrance. Locked up by the passive. He will use the casket away. He might get Blossoms. Good stopwatch will keep him alive. Meanwhile, on the backside, Strompus has TP'd in the fight. They've taken the jungler, and this might be the mistake. But Drew Dozer, again with Nuclear, will find the snipe onto Strompus, and now no chance of a counter push from Wildcard.
What the heck is happening, DJ? It felt like this game was over. It was done and dusted. Wildcard Gaming had this one in the bag, but Redbirds are clawing back into this. Wildcard will be able to secure this Baron, though, but
look, they're going for the base.
Oh my god, they're going mid. Redbird's going mid.
This is really weird against Baron because empowered recalls are going to come through. I don't feel like they can finish.
But there's only one turret.
They don't have a wave. They don't have a wave. What Kenobi? No.
The spaghetti's all over the floor, DJ.
No, not the spaghetti.
Redbirds are trying to figure out a way to end the game. They tried as well when they got that the team fight win, and they just walked into the base and they overstayed, and they're giving away a free Baron to Wildcard Gaming, who now have a chance to put the exclamation point on this game. But I mean,
Kenobi.
1 minute left.
Things are going
1 minute
so
left
well.
drag.
Things are going so well. Redbird have scrambled the eggs just a little bit, I must admit. But they are not out of this by any means. They are only 5k gold down. We have seen them win 4 fights in a row against Wildcard. And Baron, not exactly a huge team fighting buff, right? They can still do this, but they must set up properly. They are protecting this Drake, spawning in 45 seconds. It will be the 3rd time of asking for Wildcard Gaming for this Infernal Soul.
And the big thing you got to be looking out for, both of the carries for Redbirds, no flash on them. So they have to play this impeccably in terms of their positioning. If they get caught out by an ulti, by the Sedge, by a Shockwave, this is going to be done and dusted, and Wildcard will be moving on to the top 16.
Yeah, it is important to know. Minwi does have his. There's no flash on Blossoms, mind you, but there is one onto Griffin. So there is a flash engage option. You can see Griffin getting the speed up, trying to run on in, doesn't see a target just yet. And Redbird, they have the priority in the pit. Fight over priority in mid, given to Wildcard. A bit of an engage. Traded back here by Griffin, still no full. There's a Glacial Prison, but it's only on to Disconnector. They bubbled the engage again. Blossoms goes down. The Shockwave is only to Disconnector.
What are they doing?
Engage, but Drew Dozer get another. And Griffin's so low. They've got Minwi. This could be the end. Can they get there? The pillar will take it.
What have they done?
Redbird is headed for the base. Can they end Wildcard's run?
I can't believe, what have they done? Wildcard, they had it in the bag. They just needed to play safe, but they ultied the Gragas of all people with the Sejuani ultimate, and now with both of the carries still alive for Redbirds, they can break the space. They have a minion wave soon.
No way, but they are TPing in 5 members
Aaron
strong against the 2 of Wildcard. In goes Alorum. Drew Dozer is low, but they can't get on him. Alorum doing everything he can. Alorum, the veteran of the amateur scene,
No
has
way!
fallen to Redbird. 1 member remains. It is Griffin. It is Blossom. Can they stop this? No, they can't.
The Nexus!
Redbird have turned the game around, and they will be moving on to the group stage.
What on earth did I just see? What did I just see? They ended the game with a 3k gold deficit. It's a 1k Baron power play less. What? Wild card! Oh no!
We have had on this stream, Kenobi, 2 of the most thrilling, exciting open qualifier games that I have ever seen on the same day that we had a Rift Herald charge down 3 turrets in a 19-minute win for third party to qualify for LQs. What is happening right now in the amateur scene? This is what it's all about. And Redbird Esports, yet another collegiate team that will get to represent in the group stage.
I mean, huge props. I gotta give props. I'm very critical of how Wildcard Gaming ended that game, but I have to give absolute huge props to Redbird for not letting that game get to the point where it was out of hand and like lose. They kept going. They knew that they had team fight availability to them, and for as struggle as it was for Gragas in the top lane against the Alorum on that Sejuani, he ate so many engages at the very end of that. Used cast to make sure that the people who were going to bring to the promised land, which was their Victor and their Jinx, stayed alive, and 3-item Jinx, 4-item Victor pummeled the entirety of Wildcard Gaming. And can you believe it, DJ? Wildcard Gaming is not going to the top 16.
For the first time in 5 tournaments, I think, with 3 wins last year, Proving Grounds, and now PGCQ, Wildcard will not represent with their main roster. And Redbird, Drew Dozer and Nuclear better be getting a Gatorade bath and a half. The whole team coming together to push on.
Where are
through
they in
what
Illinois? Like
a victory. Yeah, they're right by me. I didn't say it earlier. I live in Chicago. I'm a 40-minute drive. I gotta head down there. It's party night, right? Tuesday night. We're lighting it up at this point here for Redbird Esports, but we got to bring it back here. Kenobi, because this was the last game of the day. This is the last game of the OQs, and we need to take a look at who has qualified. Not sure if we have the graphic ready just yet, and I don't think we do, unfortunately. But
we don't. But we can glean. We can
glean.
We know Redbird's got in.
We know Redbird's got in. That's the big thing. I'll let you scour this one, Kenobi, as I do move on to wrap up a little bit. So as we catch my breath here again, to give our final thoughts on the day. But first, we will thank our sponsors for the day and for the OQ. So we can see that graphic. Thank you, production, and give us a couple of minutes here to regroup after that incredible game. Thank you to Atlantic, to Palti, Skulls, and Gangster for providing all the support that we have you here on Unified and allowing us to bring you productions and games like this one that just typify the amateur scene. We appreciate you always being in our corner. So Kenobi, have you gotten a second to take a look at any of the teams that qualified on the bubble matches?
I am currently looking right now through all of it. There's a lot of stuff we got to get to. So actually, I also believe that, just as an aside, I think it's possible that Redbirds were 0-2 going into today, by the way.
Wow.
Just to make it even more
what
of
a day.
Yeah, they lost to Maryville and they lost to Supernova Dark Matter. So I get Portillo's. All of the Illinois guys get Portillo's. You deserve it tonight. Let me just see if we can find out who's getting in. There were a lot of bubble teams still available to us. The Wildcard Aces, fortunately, not going to be getting in themselves. UCI, I don't know if that game is over just yet. Let me check. Winthrop won theirs, so they are in. Winthrop is going to be going to our top 16. ISU, we just saw beat Wildcard. I'm trying to check nameless.
All right,
UCI
I think
is out.
We're okay. UCI out. Unfortunately, I feel like we're scrapping here. So let's let Unified figure this one out. And while we cannot provide you the excitement and hype of announcing it live, there will be a graphic, I'm sure. on the Unified Twitter channel. So keep your eyes peeled for that one to see who did qualify from these bubble matches. What we know here is that ISU did. Redbird Esports is in, and they will be another collegiate representative. So congratulations to Drew Joser, to Nuclear, to Pater, and all the members at Redbird Esports for an incredible day 2 at the OQs, an incredible final game. And with that, we will wrap up the OQs in the circuit too. So I want to thank everyone here at Unified. Of course, my partner here in Kenobi for providing an absolutely stellar and exciting day of games. Our producer behind us, Ibram the Observer, Tony, our producer, and then everyone behind the scenes at Unified for making such an incredible OQs. Graphics on the spot, all kinds of requests flying everywhere, reseeding games, you name it, they were doing it. Thank you to them. And of course, thank you to all the amateur viewers out there. We hope you have enjoyed today's games. We hope you have enjoyed the open qualifiers, and you can tune back in here on Unified 2, Unified Live in the Academy broadcast channel when group stages start next Monday at 3 p.m. PST, 5 p.m. CST, 6 p.m. EST. So set those clocks. Do not miss it. And until we see you again, thank you, and we hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful night.